Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
James the Wildcard.
And we missed a whole big thing. We broke the 100th podcast mark.
Woo!
Woohoo!
And Grumpy Cat is not amused, but I am.
And we are slightly amused.
Slightly. That means we have that little of a life. but no, it's been fun, and we have been getting suggestions and stuff throughout the 100, and always do that. Always suggest stuff to us.
Yes, and hopefully we will be able to get off our butts and be able to utilize all the stuff you talk to us about.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. But 100 podcasts, that's cool. We cover the gambit of stuff, and thanks for those of you who tune in to these.
Yeah.
Because honestly, otherwise I'd be talking to myself.
We'd be talking to ourselves.
Yeah, and we would necessitate mental help. But because we're recording it, and I'm air quoting
you're listening
now
to it
for a podcast, it's okay. But
yeah,
that's very cool. And I'm convinced, however, that flying insects are just jerks.
They are.
Because I've noticed any insect capable of sustained flight, not just I can flutter down to the ground because I'm gigantic with wings, but any insect that's capable of sustained flight that gets airborne goes right for your face whenever they fly by you. And they aren't just like, oh, I happen to be in the face. No, they zoom into your face, linger, and zoom out. And they're just jerks. First, A, rubbing it in our face literally that we can't fly.
Yeah.
And then B, being jerkish about it because they're hard to swat down. So insects that fly are jerks.
Yes, indeedably they are. And today is a very good day for us. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
Maybe. Because
today is where you can repent, for tomorrow you die.
Yes, well, when this comes out, they'll be out for sure, but,
yes.
But,
well, they are out.
They are out.
It has officially been out.
It's been out, and it will continue to be out once this goes up. But, so they're out. Now, here's the deal. Shipping, as I experienced this with Skatari, because I was curious enough to purchase it, is different than it used to be back around 5th ed, 4th ed.
Back in my day.
Well, and I can't blame GW because they're not a shipping company, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of always, you can always find a way to blame whoever you want, but...
Hey. In this day and age, if there's anything that I've learned, GW can be blamed for almost every problem, even if it's not related to them. Oh, man, my car broke down. Frickin' GW!
and again, I'm not a GW fanboy. There are things they do that I don't like, and things they do. No. But at the same time, the only way is if they ship earlier, but they don't... But, whatever.
Well, I've discovered, actually, what they do... with any of this limited edition junk, if you're not picking up in store, they deliberately hold back your order as a incentive. Well, if you want a lower number in the numbers, you better send it to the store.
Well, yeah, but also, even without limited edition stuff, when they ship to you, it's... Alright, back in, I ordered a limited edition Dark Angel thing because I'm obligated to. And they're saying, for tracking my package, that July 8th is when it'll get to me.
Yep.
Which is absurd.
July 9th for me.
Which is absolutely absurd. It's absurd because the Codex officially released the 27th of June.
Yep.
So that's an absurd amount of time.
And according to this here, on Saturday at 9:45 a.m., it departed the FedEx location in Olive Branch, MS, which is what, Mississippi?
No, not Mississippi. I forget what it is, to be honest. I looked it up and I completely forgot it.
I'm going to look it up.
I'd be surprised. It might be Mississippi, but I thought it was like something completely different. It's not Missouri. That's not
it is, according to this, Mississippi State.
All right, well then, it seemed like it was further Midwest when I looked it up on the map, but Yeah, I guess it is Mississippi. It makes sense. But here's the deal. Skitarii, when I ordered it, had a similar thing. It said it was going to be way later than when I got it, and I'm expecting it by the 2nd.
Yes.
If I'm lucky, the 1st, which is still kind of lame, but whatever.
But it would be awesome because the first arrive on the 1st.
Exactly. But it's still kind of lame because I remember when this was before they did special edition codices, really. But when I pre-ordered like a codex from 4th edition and 5th, I would get it the Thursday before it's released.
Yeah.
And that happened also with the first limited thing I ever bought, which was the Chaos one. And I still got it basically by the time it hit shelves, which was cool because, hey, now, I got it, and I have it just when somebody who gets up early to go to the store before it potentially sells out, depending on how many go to a store, to get it. And now it's been, and not just now, but I've been noticing over the past, year and a half or so, with stuff I've ordered through, I guess, shipping snafus or whatever, I get it nearly a week after it comes out. And, the whole malarkey of, well, we're going to try and do in-store pickup would be, I get that being attractive, but at the same time, not everybody's close enough to an in-game store.
That's if you're going to pull, to be perfectly honest, if you're going to pull that nonsense, and for me personally, I think that's nonsense. Get it early if you pick it up in store. I'm like, okay, the only time a perk of picking up in store should be you don't have to pay shipping.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And
to be perfectly honest. But again, with this, there is no... GW has, for about half a year now, been working on, quote-unquote working on, I know because I applied for it, a store on Long Island.
Yeah.
The closest store to me is a train ride away, and if I'm lazy, a train and a subway trip away.
Oh, yeah, no,
So GW is punishing me because I have to take 2 trains to get to their store.
Well, I mean, I look at it like this. That store is far away. I've been there in the city, and it's a pain to get to.
And it's got weird hours, too.
It really does. It's odd. I'm pretty sure it's just a front for some type of drug cartel, but because of the weird hours. But
the Swift store's not open on a Monday.
You know what's weird? They do that a lot down here.
Really?
And I'm like, but do you not want money? I have money to impart to you for goods or services.
I can understand the not opening on Sunday. You know, that makes a little sense to me. But Monday?
You know what I've noticed, and I've noticed it a bit in Pennsylvania, and now in North Carolina, and when I had to do stuff where I've been on the road in Florida recently, it seems the further south you go, to a point, of course, the more niche a store is, the odder the hours are. And I'm just thinking, I guess that would have been the way on Long Island back when the cost of living wasn't astronomical, so I guess the 50s. But
50s, we're talking the 40s, my friend.
Probably, in all honesty. But I know stores like Monday closed, Tuesday closed, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday open. I'm like, how do you stay in business? You're closed nearly half a week.
Yeah.
What? How do?
Well, it's another weird thing. There's that shop, Men at Arms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Over by here. That was before the War Store and all that. This was the place you went for 40K stuff and fantasy, and all of your nerd needs came from this shop. They are now most average gaming stores. They open at 12 and they close at around 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Some even go as far as 1.
Yeah.
Because we all have, they're factoring in people who work late and want to have a game. Men at Arms is open 12 to 6.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and you still are in business?
I know, it's odd, and it really is odd. And The thing is, when it comes to
But then again, I can't really say that. Grasshopper has, like, the same weird thing, too. But they're more a comic book shop than anything. So closing at 6 is not weird to me.
Yeah, no, and comic book shops, they kind of, like, their shtick is you have normal hours, you won't succeed. You must have weird hours if you're a comic book shop. It's kind of a rule. But,
yes, it is very true. But then again, though, it's a comic shop. So you get the one guy who shows up the first Thursday of every month and drops $800 to catch up on all the comic series he's reading.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. It's like you get the mother load the first on that Thursday, and then you get trickle in for the rest. So that Thursday basically is how you survive. But it's just weird because I get it. You know, shipping certain things takes time and all that. And it's not just GW. I've ordered stuff from other places, and some places they're really prompt with their shipping. Other places, they do whatever it takes just to get it to you. And if it takes a little bit longer, so be it. But I think pushing pickup in stores is ludicrous considering that, like, stores, you may live 3 hours from the nearest GW store for them. And how lucky they are to have their own store. You're not going to see that for Privateer Press or anybody else.
Privateer Press, thankfully, doesn't, like, they do regular store stuff.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like, Wizards of the Coast was the only other place kind of like a GW store.
That had where you could actually go and find a Wizards shop.
Yeah, and, like, but also at the same time, like, that just sold Wizards products. I mean, you don't. Look, in our hobby, that's absurd to have that. We thrive on local stores because they sell it all. We need that because it's hard to. I mean, if that's how you were expected to survive, half the things out there right now would just tank immediately because they wouldn't have the capability to open up a franchise of stores. But if there was an option, and I know they can't do this, but they do have kind of better relationship with certain independent stores than others.
Yes.
If there was an option for those nearby, like, hey, we can ship this to this store for you, that would be cool. That would be a bit more feasible. You know.
But just on the general, even in general, like, if you don't have a lot of stores around, I just feel like, and this whole, okay, they get it earlier, awesome. What bothers me is when I found out that when they do these limited edition things, which, don't get me wrong, I love limited edition stuff. It's cool to go, hey, I got it and you don't, type of thing. We all love that bragging right. Everyone here has that love for bragging.
And it also... it's a fancy packaging. Humanity's a sucker for fancy packaging. So.
What I don't like is that they essentially go, they've said it, if you pick up in store, you will get a lower number. It shouldn't be.
It should be based on when you ordered it.
It should be based when you ordered it. You know, essentially, like, right now, I did a 100-mile radius search for GW retail stores by me. Okay? I've got 2 locations. One, the New York City, Manhattan one. The only other one is in Connecticut.
Yes. No,
I'm supposed to drive here just to get this book.
Oh, yeah, no, and if I did that, I guarantee you it would just be the one in Charlotte, because...
Which, I'm curious now, what is your zip code?
Mine?
Yes.
I'll type it. So...
Go right ahead. Well, but you don't want everyone to know
I'm going to play Paranoia. But,
Paranoia. Okay.
But,
here we go.
But
I'm curious to see how many GW official stores you have.
Don't get me wrong. Am I going to go, man, I wish I had number 4 or 1 or whatever of a thing? No, because it's not like they get anything extra. But I do think it should be based on... And it's easy to track with the way orders are processed. Who processed before others, you get the earlier number. End of story.
Okay. I did a 100-mile radius here. Okay. You've got 3 GW stores within 100 miles of your zip code.
Wow, but you know what? I'm not going to drive them. I know the roads around here. That means it's all the way in Bumble.
Let's see. Out of curiosity, now, if I shrink it down to 10 miles, because that's a little bit more reasonable.
0, probably.
You've got one.
Which one is that?
And it's not even in your bubble.
Like, the closest GW store should be the one in Charlotte, if there is one in Charlotte.
This one is Grove Lake Drive near North Tyrant Street.
I don't even know what that is.
Let's see. It's Millard Point.
I don't even know what that is.
Let's see. The Charlotte one. I'm curious here.
Is there even one in Charlotte?
No. If I drop to 50, which is like your standard, Millard Point and Solace Creek.
Sure. You know what?
And then if I go to 100, the third store is Shops at Woodruff.
Wow. All right. But, special edition stuff should be as the order comes into the computer and gets processed.
Yeah, it should come as in order of
when it was processed.
It. Yeah.
But so that's a bunch of nonsense there. Lower number if you get it shipped to your store.
Oh,
but
your sharp. Blah. Never mind.
But at the same time, shipping in general. And they're not the only company who does this. I mean, if you pre-order something for a video game, good luck getting it at the time it gets released.
Yeah, especially if you do it through Amazon.
Yeah, so the only real capability of pre-ordering anything is if you go to like a video game store, which is a lot more reasonable because you went to the local store to pre-order it.
Yeah.
Because those are much more numerous than a dedicated gaming store. So, but it's the same thing, and it's just it was cool when you got things at the same time that it came out.
And the worst part is even with that, we don't have the option to go to a store and pre-order it.
You don't unless you know the guy.
Yeah. Well, no, not even because I know the guy at one hobby shop, and I was like, I'd like to pre-order this item, and he's like, cool. And the day he comes out, he's like, I am sorry. They wouldn't let me order this. It's only their store.
Right. But I mean, what I mean is you could, I don't know about special edition stuff, but I do know there are ways in which you can get stuff shipped that is to them, like basically ordered through them. And then they'll work, but you can't just be the new guy.
No. You can pre-order stuff from them. But it's like the limited quantity stuff, GW won't let non-GW stores pre-order.
Oh, no, they won't. It's the only way you can kind of... It still wouldn't work because it would be no better than if you ordered it yourself. So it's just that, and like I said, it's not... It happens with other stuff, too. It's just when you have something like that, you want to get it before, 10 days goes by.
You don't want to be, for the next, according to FedEx here, for the next 2 weeks, I'll be still using the 6-head codex.
Well, aka not playing because...
Yeah, it's the 6-head codex.
Yeah, so it's just... And that's the thing, that's why when I look at it, I go, is it worth... And even not even special edition stuff, just in general, because even if it was a regular edition, it would be this long to ship. So it's, do I want to pre-order it, or do I just take the chance it's going to be in stock at the store I go to buy and get it there? Which it isn't always, but...
and you know what I miss?
What?
I miss the GW mailing boxes.
Those were cool.
They're because then you were like, oh, snap, I know what this is!
Yeah, no, those were cool, but, everything's streamlined, but...
Yep.
But
I miss those.
Yeah.
Bring those back, GW.
Now, piggybacking off of last week, is the painting market saturated?
Yes.
I've been thinking, and
a dangerous pastime.
It is, but Forge Worlds paints, which I've seen them in use on some forums and whatnot, and they can really emulate certain color schemes very well. But They're still the pop top. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're not an eyedropper. They're not a dropper.
Yeah.
They're still a pop
Their
top.
Their theory
thing.
behind that is when you're done, you can pour the unused content back into the jar.
It is. I get the theory, but who does that?
Well, here's the thing. Cool idea, but what if you needed to mix something with that paint in order for it to work?
Also, who does that? I find myself, I take a little bit of paint out of those pots. I put it on a palette to moisten it down or whatever, do whatever I gotta do, and as I need more, I repeat process. I'm not dumping out the entire pot and going, I'm done with the color, let me dump it back in.
Yeah. Well, again, the theory is like with is thinking of, they're only going to be using these for airbrushes.
Yeah, no, I get
and that's the theory, is that they'll go loop up and then dunk. But again, I'm like, you're going to be putting thinners, needle juice, and all this other junk. And I'm just sitting there going, I don't want all that crap in the paint, because now I ruined any mixture I could do later on, because I have to factor in what's left.
No, I get it. I mean, like, and it's not like they're the only them and GW are the only companies to make paint like that. And these paints are also really good for painting with a brush, but they're a bit better. They're a bit more formulated towards airbrushing, but they're really good for paintbrush as well, because even less work you have to do there. But Tamiya paints and Mr. Color, same deal. Screw off top and everything, and repeat process, right? But you know, them and testers and stuff, it's a bit different. Like, I don't know, and I'm willing to bet that Forge World is kind of more in line with that way, and not with how the paint pots from GW are, which get the infamous adamantium durability dry paint caked in the back where you try to snap it down and you can't prick it out with anything short of lava to get it out of there, because it dries harder than steel. And it got me thinking, for the of what I call more traditional hobbying, model making, the paints are like that because, like you said, airbrushing and enamel paints are sort of like that if you go enamel at all. And certain specialty things like alcohol-based paints work better in this screw-off top. But you look at practically all of the paint-specific companies that make either a range or they just make purely paints for wargaming, they're all droppers.
Yep.
Army
or
paint.
At the very least, because I think some of them do, they make it where, at the very least, if you want, you can remove the dropper.
Oh, yeah, but they screw up. I'm not saying they're permanent.
Yeah.
Because droppers, the big pitfall of droppers is that if they get gunked up, it's really hard to clean them out if you can't unscrew the dropper. Yeah. But so
it's like double functions. You can pour or drop.
And that's actually a better way to do it, because you have that option. But they're all still set up so you can shake them up, drop them out. No company has went just the paint pot route. And if they do, it's a screw top as opposed to a pop lid.
Yeah.
Do you think GW should go to eyedroppers?
I think that they... I honestly think that they should have done, like, if they wanted to do this whole, we want you to have the option to put the paint pot in, then they should have made it with a removable eyedropper.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
Because their theory right now is like, if they don't, they'll just buy eye droplets and all that. It's like, you shouldn't be thinking about, we'll just go to this company. You should be thinking, how can we keep me from going to another company to buy stuff?
Right, but I mean, like, Forge World paints are... Again, it's a specialty product. It's Forge World's specialty product company. But for, like, Citadel paints, I think if, it's no shock here. The current paint pot is the way it is because it's cheaper to produce than the old paint pots, which really were great. Yeah. Because they had a nice lip and everything and easy to clean up.
Yep, they should go back to those.
If they went back to that, I'd be happy. But I think with the trends and everything, having it look, like the Reaper paints and the Vallejo paints, something like that you could screw off if you want to so you can pour bigger quantities, is what I think they should do. I think they should go to that route. 2 reasons. The paint loss for just caking everywhere is less.
Yes, very much.
So you get to use more of the paint. I know they don't do airbrushing straight up. I mean, they have that thing, but, they don't really focus on it. But it would make it easier for some people for that route to just, squeeze in 2 drops here and then add whatever.
It's better for measuring because, I tried it once. I was like, I can't see if the line is level or not.
Yeah, and it's also all around a cleaner process because if you're wanting us for not just the paint but for the brushes, because people. If you want to get really crazy with it, you take an older brush to scoop out and do the paint mixing stuff because it's not good for the brush to scoop out paint. It's not a spoon. Yeah. Right? So
it is not a spoon.
It's a brush.
It is not.
So having a dropper makes it cleaner for dropping out the paint you need. It makes it cleaner for your brushes, and all around I think the paint pot, the way it is that GW using, is like square bases. It's old school. It's time to go away with it. They went away with square bases. Let's go to eyedroppers. So, or just dropper pots. I like those better. I've been using one. I have some Reaper paints I use, and I just recently bought a Vallejo paint that actually didn't work out at all for what I wanted, so I use it for bases. And it smells like Vicks Vapor Rub. It has a very weird smell. It's not the smell of Tamiya's.
Vallejo does have a weird paint smell.
But this is the first paint from Vallejo, because I've used other ones, not alcohol, but regular, like Model Air and stuff I've used in the past. This one has, I didn't really notice in the other one, this one is like, is this paint, or did you guys accidentally put Vicks Vapor Rub in here with some pigment? Because that's what it smells
out of
like.
curiosity, which paint is this?
This is
in
just
question?
Vallejo's gray-black.
Just a regular, not a primer?
No, it's just gray-black.
Weird.
It is.
But I do notice that they do tend to be, they do tend to have a funky smell, in my opinion.
It's weird, because I know for Tamiya clear paints, the clear reds, the clear blues and stuff, they have more of like a Robitussin smell.
I love, though, how they have right blatantly on the Tamiya bottle, flammable. I'm like, lovely.
No, they are, and it's the weirdest acrylic ever. It's an acrylic that utilizes alcohol in it as well.
Very odd.
I couldn't explain it to you because I'm not a paint maker or a chemist, but I just know from looking up stuff on Tamiya paints to try to figure out how to work with certain stuff and just try and see if people did reviews on certain paints, which they haven't, spoiler alert, but for me anyway. But it's just weird, like, it's an acrylic, but it's the only flammable acrylic I know of. So it's very odd. It has some type of alcohol in there for some reason. But
very weird.
But they have a particular smell. The GW paints smell like paint. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. I like that, because when I'm utilizing the Vallejo one, I'm not one to get like not grossed out or like have to stop painting with because of the smell. But when I smell it, I don't like it. I'm like, this is terrible. Why you smell like this? It's just, especially considering it's a pigment, a binder, and usually water with maybe something else in it. What could smell like that is what I wonder. It's just so weird. But also speaking of paint, I know why the models that you've gotten from me are so hard to strip.
Oh.
Before I got the matte paint, the matte varnish I use now, I utilized hardcore oil paint matte sealer that you have to actually heat up to go from being cloudy to clear before you use it. And I used to put 2 coats of that on there, and this stuff is meant for like oil paints and it's like atomic shielding, basically.
Surprisingly, I found something that beats it.
No, it's good. I'm glad, because
I
have some of those models that I stripped that I still have that for me, and I'm like, this is terrible.
I found something that actually defeats it, so I'm cool now.
No, it's good, but if you're not ready, if you are not prepared, you're like, what the heck?
You are not prepared.
It's just I remember, because I was looking at varnishes. I was at a Hobby Lobby, which does not have any GW product, or Tamiya paints. I went there for Tamiya paints, and they didn't have any. Usually they do, but I picked up some cork board instead, like cork mat to rip up for basing. But
I picked up some realistic water for a Titan stand.
Nice, but then I walked past like paints and stuff, and I saw the matte varnish I used to use. I'm like, there it is. And I looked at it. I'm like, that makes sense. This is totally overkill for what we're doing. Yeah.
Surprisingly for me, I don't top coat my models because they chip more when I top coat them.
See, you have you have the curse of the paint gods, like I have the curse of the dice gods.
Yeah, like I tried it once and it was like, look at this sucker. He's trying to protect this finish.
It's true. Like you paint does not like to work for you in terms of being finished or not chippable or being resilient to chipping. The way dice don't like to roll anything but ones for me.
I actually just recently I read this whole how to test if your dice are balanced thing, where you take a 1/3 cup of water and 6 tablespoons of salt.
And then you drink it.
Now, you have to be mindful. You may have to play around with the salt and the water content a little bit and do like a little island thing, because no matter what I did, I had to get this just right so the dice wouldn't just sit on top of the salt that's at the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
Because it's 6 tablespoons to 1/3 water. That's not a whole lot of space there.
No.
But if you get a water to salt ratio right, and it does require a lot of salt,
Yeah.
you can have your dice float. And then you randomly roll them, and if they're weighted, they'll only roll on one number, particularly. So if you're rolling a lot of ones, you don't be surprised if your D20 rolls up as 20s all the time, because the 20 is the heavy spot.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. I'm probably saying that wrong, because me and science also are not very fun friends.
No, I get what you're saying. Based on the weight, certain part of the dice will be down, therefore a number comes up.
Yep, so I tried a random die that I found. And I'm like, okay, it's working. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, this seems to be fairly random, so it seems to be good. Let me pull out my Imperial Guard dice. And now I drop it in, and it sinks like a stone. And it's the same size as the other die that just floated. And I was like, oh. That's unexpected.
So what does that mean for that?
That the dice is really heavy and I need a lot more salt.
But, I'll tell you how bad the dice guys hate me, okay? And it's not expensive to get these, but when I was playing Pure Deathwing, I purchased certified casino dice.
Mm-hmm.
They were not round edge; they were straight edge at the corners.
Okay.
And
these were the ones that they use for like crap tables and all that.
Yeah, these are like those.
Okay.
But they're, like typical if you buy like Chess X dice, it's the curved corners, so you don't potentially fracture or anything. No, these were straight cut corners. These were certified and balanced to be mathematically and random and fair. So if you could theoretically purchase this at a casino and use it, and it would be all certified. It had the proper sticker on everything that it came with, and it wasn't that expensive.
Yep. And Elena has 2 dice from Vegas.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive, and in fact, they go through dice like buttloads with that because.
Yes.
But so I bought these brand new, sealed, certified, pretty cheap to be honest, but more expensive than buying Chess X. But not cost prohibitive. I bought 2 of these, so I had enough to roll. Mm-hmm. Even with scientifically random dice, I roll and I failed way too many Terminator armor saves. Like, even with these dice that are meant to be fair and balanced, literally, I roll them, and it's those dice that came up 5 ones to the entire squad that got wiped out by las-guns.
Yes, las-gun fire, people.
Which will do that to Terminators.
Roll a 2 or higher.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, enough las-gun fire will bring down anything can wound. That's a statistical fact. But the fact that it was 5 las-gun wounds, and I rolled 5 dice, and they came up 5 ones, statistically, is that a random event to happen? Sure, but it definitely shouldn't have. That's how much the dice hate me. Yes,
the dice do hate you a lot.
Not only do they hate me, but it's like it's DBZ and they're giving their power to Goku, because the other guy rolled.
Was that me?
No, this was a Blood Angels player with an assault cannon against a Land Raider. One of them hit, and he rolled nothing but 6s he needed to penetrate and blow up my Land Raider.
And this was down during 5th when you couldn't blow up tanks.
Yeah, this was during the time when you could do it. And but the statistical probability of the number of 6s rolled in succession should never have happened.
Yeah.
And then in that same game, I fire a las cannon at side armor of Rhino, and all I'm doing is stitching my name in it. I didn't even glance it.
Yes, no, you have... Even that one game that we did where it was Dark Angels versus Guard, it was like, wow, your dice just don't like you.
It's so bad. But then I'll have the weirdest times, like when I'm able to make 3 invulnerability saves for Terminator armor with a Power Fist, so I don't have a fancy Storm Shield, and then punch to death a Tyrant with it. Or have that one Company Master survive a Dire Avenger Withering Hail and come unscathed.
Yep.
So it's like the randomest times when it really doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, sure, let him have it. And then it's like, oh, normal stuff? Kill him. And it's just like...
No, it's like, wait, this affects his outcome of the game? He must fail.
And it was so bad that the Blood Angel player looked at me like I'm sorry, you can't blow up my Rhino with your last cannon. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm equally surprised this is happening. So that's how bad my luck is with dice. So
if you know what it is. It's not the dice. It's how unbalanced this game is.
Oh yeah, totally, completely. That I played against yet another Space Marine, and I couldn't do anything about it. But
it's because the game is unbalanced.
Yes,
unbalanced. That's your problem.
It is clearly, but oh man, I just like when people think they're having a bad dice rolling day, then they see me play any game ever, and they feel better. So
yes. If you ever feel bad about your crappy dice rolls, play the wild card.
And you'll be like, wow, are you sure?
Suddenly, things don't look so bad.
Yeah. Suddenly, I'm fantastic. What happened? But, yeah.
Speaking of weird and surprising, I went to the movies recently.
You fool.
Yes, what have I done? I saw 2 movies. The first one, probably not going to talk much about because I think I'm the only one who have seen this one, was I saw the movie Inside Out.
I gotta tell you, didn't even know it was a movie until I saw a random commercial for it. And it wasn't even really for it. It was for something it was sponsoring. Or sponsor it.
To be perfectly honest, out of left field, that movie was super good.
I didn't even know it was a movie. That's how bad they publicized that thing. Because
Did you not go to a movie theater? Because they advertised it in like every film that I've seen.
And every film I've seen, I haven't seen the movie theater by me had no posters of it that I saw, and nothing. I never saw an advertisement for it or a trailer. And it took me on a YouTube video, some random YouTube video on cars, to have something the equivalent of, let's just say, medicine that was using that as like a plot hook to get you to pay attention to the commercial. And I'm like, what are these guys? And it's like Inside Out now playing it there. It's like, what is that? And so,
well, to be perfectly honest, the marketing for the trailer was so different than the movie I got. I was like, this movie really hits an emotional chord. It was super good.
That's cool.
I mean, so if you haven't seen it, and you're into Disney Pixar-y stuff, see Inside Out. It is super good. And the second film that I saw was Jurassic World.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, listen, if I was younger when Jurassic Park came out, if I was just younger, so when I wasn't around when it came out, and I got into, I saw it maybe, and I saw this, I wish, or if Jurassic Park came out now, because at the time, I was a kid, and the whole idea of, like, crazy genetic research and looking at stuff, not to actually bring back dinosaurs, but that whole kind of field of science was not really a thing to even consider for school. But having seen Jurassic World, I went, man, if I was a kid for this, I'd totally go into science.
That movie was so good, and all the Easter eggs
were fantastic
in that film were great. There was a couple that I missed the first time around and had to be pointed out.
Without spoiling anything, I will say this. This is what I wanted out of the Godzilla movie that came out. I wanted more than 5 minutes of Godzilla. So if you were kind of a little it was a good movie, but it was like you put all the minutes together, you're like, Godzilla's not even in this. This is the opposite of that in terms of dinosaurs. Yeah.
To be fair with that, not going to go too deep into that, but that was entitled more for the classics of Godzilla, because the original one, he's only in it for like 5 minutes.
I get it, but you know what I mean? Like,
if you're complaining that the big thing wasn't in the film, then Jurassic World delivers.
Yes, it delivered. Like, if you want a big thing, you got big thing.
And the film has one of the greatest FU Jurassic 3 Easter eggs I've ever seen.
Yes, and if anybody doesn't realize this, it only is taking into account Jurassic Park, the original, and that's it. It's not.
Well,
it's not. It's not.
Well,
it's not.
It doesn't say the others don't happen. It just doesn't.
Well, I didn't say
it just
that.
doesn't recognize.
It
them.
doesn't. It doesn't follow after 3. It doesn't bring into any accounts of anything happening. It doesn't make any mentions of a certain T-Rex hitting Los Angeles or wherever it was.
It does clearly happen after the law. Well,
time-wise, time has passed.
Time-wise, it clearly happens after Jurassic Park 3.
But
they don't ever acknowledge the events of 2 or 3.
They don't, and in fact, they go so far as the developer, the people who made it, saying we just didn't take them into account. Period. Yeah. Like in terms of story and lore or anything. So.
Yep. Which thankfully there was none to have.
Well, there was, but it wasn't like what I'm thankful about is that we kind of went back to the roots of some moviedom, which is you just want to have fun. Right.
Yep.
You don't want to turn into some super serious like global warming or water shortage or hunger thing. You want just crazy, wacky theme park that I would go to in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So,
did you know this is funny? This is funny. There is a comedian made a quick little tongue-in-cheek joke. That is now making people claim that Jurassic World is racist.
I'm not
and I'm going to say this because this doesn't spoil anything or anything like that, but you know the Pachyosaurus.
Yeah.
Right? The for those who don't know, that's the dinosaur with the dome, cranium head that they bash heads with each other. If you ever saw Land Before Time, it's the thing that's chasing Sarah at the end where they're smashing their faces into the ground. If you saw The Lost World, it's the one that bumps into the Jeep in the beginning of the film when they're hunting dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's called a Pachyosaurus. When we first see the command center, that the heart of the park, there's people monitoring, and one guy says, 2 Pachy's are out of their pen again. And everyone immediately goes that it was a slur against Pakistanians.
You can't
talk about fishing for an excuse to call a movie racist.
Talk about jumping off a building for something. I mean, that's ridiculous because puppies, horses, Packies, I could see that happening.
You know, if he's abbreviating the name of a dinosaur.
Yeah, no.
That's like calling a Tyrannosaurus Rex a Rex.
Or a T-Rex.
He's not. Yeah. You know, you're not making a racial slur against Mr. T by saying T-Rex.
I paid a fool. But
or a raptor, you know, instead of saying velociraptor.
Or raptor. You know, it's shortening for the sake of honestly what you would do if you worked in that situation. You don't call things by their full name.
And clearly this room establishes not everyone that works in this park is a paleontologist.
Also, it establishes that not everybody in this park is that, and it's a classic syndrome of the magic
not
gets
a
lost.
Weeaboo.
Yeah, and the magic gets lost once you work in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like I thought I saw something rustling in the weeds in terms of the internet about that, but I didn't pay attention, thankfully, because it's absurd. It's absurd.
It's as absurd as the Spielberg hunting dinosaur one. Do you ever see that one?
No.
Okay. Another comedian, he found a picture of Steven Spielberg standing over the sick Triceratops.
Yeah.
And he's just like, hey, and it kind of looks like a hunting photo.
Yeah.
And this guy posted on his Twitter something, goes, look at this horrible hunter that just killed this beautiful animal. And everyone, the internet blew up going, oh my God, how could this man hunt this poor thing out of extinction? This is why these dinosaurs are an endangered species. And one person went, wait, I think that guy's a filmmaker. What? Who is he? I'm never seeing any of his films again. This is horrible that he'd kill this poor innocent Stegosaurus Triceratops.
Yes.
And people are like, Internet. You know that it's called a Triceratops. That means you've done some sort of research. You should know they don't exist anymore!
No, I would, if I were a Lester person, I would call BS on that, but I know how the internet works, and I could totally see that happening.
And when people... And the sad thing is someone identified him when, dude, that's Steven Spielberg. Oh, well, I'm never watching Jurassic Park again.
But it's just like,
And it's like, wait a minute, you just said Spielberg, and you just said Jurassic Park. Did you not connect the two?
It's a case of people will complain. Will
looking for something to complain.
Will complain and riot on anything as silly as ridiculous as an extinct animal that is now a prop that is not living and blah 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 blah.
It's back to the whole day of the whole everybody wants somebody to complain about. Because apparently we became a country of whiners.
Oh, yeah, no, we did. And that's not us. It's also around the world people become much more whiny because that's what happens when the world gets smaller with the internet. But it's just, what I like about Jurassic World, to get back to that real quick, is that there is no real, I mean, you could fish for a underlying, like, you could say satire on something in current events. You could. Yeah. You could do that with anything. But really, it's not that's going too far. It's just a film to enjoy some awesomeness, and that's what you should take away from it. It's okay for a film to just be about enjoying funness, right? Like, it's just like why I don't like when comic books get heavy with like, oh, that superhero died of cancer. It's like, really, we brought cancer into comic books? I understand that can happen, but really, I'm here to see a masked vigilante of some sort beat up some bad guys.
It's also like going off of that. I saw a comic book once where they have a new Avengers group.
Yeah.
And they have a same-sex couple. Okay,
fine.
Their arch villain is a dude who's against gay marriage.
You see, it's that the heavy-handedness of that is silly. Like
I'm like, okay, I get it. You're trying, show, that times have changed and all that. The fact that they're a couple in the comic book, you don't need anything else.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying don't have a gay couple in a comic series.
No,
I'm just saying
don't have a gay couple fight anti-gay.
Yes,
I'm sorry, because that's what these characters are doing.
No, and it's silly. It's silly because it's the heavy-handedness and the seriousness of the topic. Don't get me wrong. Comics are kind of meant to kind of sneak in serious topics here and there and stuff like that. But when it comes that blatant...
This is like hitting you over the head with a shovel.
Yeah, when it becomes that blatant, like, you can have them fight good old-fashioned bank robbers. It's okay. You know, it's fine. That's completely allowed. But in the comic where I discovered this, the overarching villain is Doom. Yeah.
And there's like this whole giant emotional piece around this. I'm like, wow, this is like, it made up for the beginning issue where I discovered one of their main villains.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you see, Marvel, if you just went with this, you would have chances are that first issue dropped a bunch of people.
Oh yeah,
because of it.
And you know what's the sad part is about that?
Mm-hmm.
First issue, very, like you said, very much had the possibility of people losing interest and never picking it up again, and then they would be called anti-gay.
Yes.
Because why do you like that? Because they fought anti-gay. So you're against gay? No, I don't like the fact that it was a silly villain.
It's a silly. And the sad thing is, it's an organization.
That's like throwing Captain Rectitude at it. First off, he's
Captain
hilarious.
Who?
Captain Rectitude. He's kind of a villain. He's anti-smut, essentially.
Who is this?
He's a dude who wears a white suit, a white like spandexy suit with a pink heart in the center of it that fires out beams of power.
Captain
Rectitude.
Rectitude.
Titude.
There we go. Whoa.
Yeah, that's Captain Rectitude. Like it'd be like throwing Captain Rectitude at a hero because they dress kind of sexily, male or female. Like,
I must learn more about this.
He's a silly anti-hero, quickly one villain. But that's the level of silliness that having you fight, like, that would be like having a Jewish superhero like in World War II single-handedly fighting the Nazis, which honestly would make sense, but beating you over the head with the anti-Semiticness of it. You know what I mean? Like that's what
it's just over the top.
Oh yeah. You know, I like Oh, speaking of crazy stuff from heroes, not to get into a big political or socio rant.
Yes, which we've kind of already have,
yeah,
but let's keep going.
Yeah. Well, not to get any further, Ant-Man's coming out soon.
That looks so good.
Now, I have to be honest. Before, like when I heard that was being a thing, I mean, it looks good, but the limited knowledge I had of Ant-Man, I was skeptical a little bit. So, my question to you is there well, not counting Captain Rectitude, who's kind of more of a villain, is there some type of hero, Marvel or DC, that you feel is out of the possibility of being done in a movie that looks like it'll be good? Now, I understand DC movies, aside from some Batmans, are usually terrible, but forgetting that aside, which do you think will be the hardest thing to do? I gotta be honest, my bet was, before Ant-Man was announced, Ant-Man.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I'd have to say Ant-Man. Well, to a degree, I think if they tried to do Hank Pym, like, I think it was a good move on their part after looking up stuff about Hank Pym that they moved to decide not to do him. Because I think that would have been even harder, because I know a bunch of people that are like, oh man, they should have started with Hank Pym. I'm like, listen, do you really think a movie about a man who has a lot of abuse problems with his wife would have really done well?
Yeah.
That's just like asking for boycott.
Oh yeah, no, it basically
let's see. A really tough, I think on the DC side, I think
Aquaman?
Lobo would be the hardest one to do, because he already gets a lot of flack for everything he's done in comics from parents and all that. I think he would be the hardest one for DC to pull off.
Well, I get that, and like I think that might be part of the reason why they pulled back on the Punisher from Marvel.
Yeah.
And I love the one with John Travolta as the villain. That was my favorite Punisher movie.
That's a great Punisher movie.
It's so good that if they just not redid it, but took that Punisher guy and moved on with the Punisher and did more films, I'd be totally okay with that. But like then that Punisher movie that came on afterwards was basically just Bullet Hell the movie,
which I hear that movie was good, yet I've never seen it.
I never saw it all the way through. It's okay. You saw Dredd.
Yes, good movie.
Good movie, right? That's kind of how a lot of like the gunfighting scenes kind of are with this Punisher thing, but it didn't feel Punisher-y, you know what I mean? For me, it felt more like this could have been anybody in a really, really violent gunfight.
To be perfectly honest, the only scene that seems to hit any type of, like, stuck with any of our group, because it's the only scene everyone that I know of in our clique that talks about it, is when he shoots a parkour dude with a missile launcher.
Right, it's that kind of craziness. But that doesn't scream, I mean, using ridiculous weapons on people does not equal you're the Punisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, hey. The Punisher has a gun that shoots swords, so...
I'm not saying he doesn't do that. I'm saying it's not like you have to do that to be the Punisher. All you gotta do is punish with death.
What I do is in vengeance. It's punishment.
But the Punisher 1, I guess you'd call it, the one with John Travolta as the villain, was so
well,
good.
That's not Punisher 1, because there was another one with, I think, Dolph Lundgren.
But I mean, like, that's like calling Batman Begins Batman 1 and for its thing. Like, granted, it wasn't the same actors even for anything.
Yeah, but I think it was supposed to be the sequel official to that Punisher.
Which is silly, because nobody returned, but...
Yeah.
That Punisher movie,
because they read the script.
Yeah, that Punisher movie was so good, though, with John Travolta.
It was so good.
It really captured the Punisher. The
two favorite scenes for me was the opening, where the Punisher's like, oh, they're like, it's just a dude standing there with a gun, let's all shoot him.
Yeah.
And the scene with the Russian.
Oh, that was such a good fight scene.
Because it's like, you see, even... It was kind of like, I use that scene also for Batman prep time and such. You can have all the prep time in the world. That won't protect you.
Well, that was a fantastic scene, because...
My favorite part is where he pulls out the gun.
Yes.
And he stops it with the weight, and he goes...
He just looks
at it. He goes, that was supposed to win.
Yeah, he looks at the gun like, come on, really?
So fair.
But it's such a good scene, and like that's something, for example, that would work really well in like a Batman-y movie, not for prep time, just to show that no matter how, like kind of for prep time, but
just
also
to show he's just a man.
Yeah, he's just a man at the end of the day, and that's what the Punisher, and it worked well. But I really liked that movie. But
I am excited to see how he does in Daredevil.
Yeah, but like for me, really, it was Ant-Man. Ant-Man was my toughest. Like, I was like, that would be really hard to do. I mean, yeah, I know they did Guardians of the Galaxy and they had a talking tree, but we're talking Ant-Man here. How can we?
Yes.
That's almost at the same level of potential silliness for people in theaters that the Green Lantern Corps is.
Yeah. Yeah, because you sit there, it's like, if you think about it, his power is he talks to ants and grows really tiny.
Yeah, and gets...
And isn't it at one point he became Giant Man because he could no longer handle being Tiny Man?
I forget. Something like... It might be something like that. I'm not the best to talk about Ant-Man because I don't follow him at all, but he doesn't also get... He increases in strength when he gets smaller, right? Too, right?
Yes. He does increase in strength because his what it is his, he gets the ant capability of strength, but momentum continues forward. So if he's running at top speed and then he shrinks down, he continues moving at that momentum. That's how he was able to run, turn small, and flip the guy in the trailer.
I know,
because he still had the same impact as if he was still a large person.
It makes sense, and
it's explained like in Portal. Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out.
But it's just looking at what he is the same silliness potential as the Green Lantern Corps when you're like, so there's a bunch of aliens in my DC movie, and it's like, you do not,
and they make race car tracks.
Yeah, and you don't know. So if you don't know the Green Lantern, it's going to be silly. It's kind of like, but Marvel is able to, I don't know, do things well in moviedom that it can make the Ant-Man look sellable.
To be perfectly honest, I was not interested in Ant-Man until the Thomas the Tank Engine scene.
It was hilarious.
That scene, I lost it.
I mean, I'm not...
And I was like, I have to see this movie now because they made I'm sorry, Thomas the Tank is kind of scary with his lifeless doll-less eyes.
Oh, of course he is. But
he's even scarier when he's like giant size.
Yes, but like, I had no more real oomph to go see the movie with. I mean, that scene was awesome, but I was probably going to see the movie because Marvel does pretty good with their movies.
Yes, and we'll probably have to see it in order to understand what's going on in the Infinity Wars.
Yeah, it's part of the things where you watch this so you know what's going on, but it's just that Marvel's capable of doing things well with their movies.
Yes.
And I don't...
That's another character I think that would be challenging for Marvel to do.
Ooh.
Squirrel Girl.
She would be, but I think they could pull it off. I really do, because of
one of the beings that defeated the mighty Dr. Doom with the power of Squirrel.
Let's not get into Squirrel Girl here, okay? Let's just say that she would be an awesome movie, and I think it would be tough. But once they got momentum with doing it, it would come out fantastic. And that's just showing how I think above they are DC in movie capabilities, because we're going to get that Batman Superman thing at some point really soon.
Which is, I think they're doing it all wrong.
Oh, they are doing it all wrong. It's Batman versus Superman versus Justice League random cameos.
Yep. So in case anyone is not aware, their theory is that Green Lantern failed because it doesn't have the movie presence that Batman and Superman has. So the theory is, if they do Batman vs. Superman, introduce the Justice League in that movie, then when the Jon Stewart, the Wonder Woman, the Flash, and the Aquaman, and the Cyborg movie come out, you'll go to it because you're like, that's the dude who was with Batman. Batman's cool.
But it's so dumb because this is called Batman vs. Superman, not Batman vs. Superman with all of DC watching.
Yeah.
It's gonna be silly. I think he's a great pick for Batman.
I don't know why everyone's condemning Ben Affleck. I think he'll do good.
I think the Batfleck will be great.
Yes, he did a good Batman in the Daredevil movie.
He did.
It was just a crappy script.
It wasn't his fault, but he did a good job. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know how DC is. I don't know how DC is. Period. I mean, I don't understand how they can't just basically carbon copy Marvel, but with their own universe. It's not that hard.
No, you know what you do? You take the iconic character, so Batman or Superman, and at the end of their film, you plant the seed. Maybe a good idea, a Batman movie where at the end it's Cyborg that contacts him. Then you release the Cyborg movie. Then everyone goes, that's the dude that was at the end of Batman, let's go see it. Then you introduce another character in that one, and you build that way.
I just think it's a really bad call to redo Batman. I mean, they have to for the Justice League. That's not the bad call.
Yeah.
The bad call is to redo it with him fighting Superman. I'm not saying we need another...
Which I'm still not sure what the plot to that film is.
Me either, and to be honest, I'm not saying you need an origin story like Batman Begins was, right?
Yeah.
At this point, everybody and their uncle understands his parents are dead. He goes
in a dark alley.
And he's gonna fight.
And Alfred's the one who did it.
Yeah, right. But like everybody kind of understands Batman's backstory. Even if you didn't see the movie, you have a basic understanding, and they can do a montage for it, right? So,
yep.
But really, Superman is going to be how you're going to reintroduce Batman, him fighting a hero of no less, and Superman.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I don't. My favorite Superman rendition was Hancock.
Hancock was great.
That to me is the best